working with this, right? Working with this data, we also need to understand to work on. See, as we are already started with, doing operation with dictionary methods, right? It's also important to work on the data of JSON. Okay. Once again, let me create a, um, yeah, hmm, let me let me create a new package. Okay. Say JSON concepts. Right, guys, I want to close off everything else except JSON. All right. See, JSON. Before getting into, guys, one more concept. The concept name is JSON. JSON is one of the very widely used data type or data. And then like it's a data type only. So widely used data type in the internet. Okay. Meaning whenever you are using application, for example, you are using WhatsApp, right? Facebook, any data these days. So majority of the applications, they are used, they're using, JSON data format in the data transmit. Why? Because of its lightweight. We got it. So let's also quickly understand most widely used data type for transferring data over internet. Let's quickly check that out. This is not this one. So this is like protocols, data type. This one. Oh, okay. Let's quickly understand. Uh, not uh, No, JSON file is, see, JSON can be transmitted, it can save as a JSON file, or when we are sending data over internet, we can send in a JSON format. We got it? We will not send a file. Instead, we will send a format. You got it what I mean? Yeah, right. So let's quickly understand. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. Okay. So think about this, right? When okay, so I don't want to give all the all the shit about JSON, but let's directly dive into how we do it in the real time. You got it? Sure. So when, for example, let's say now I'm getting data from the internet. If you go and check application, if you go and check this here in the Postman, that's fine, not required currently. So let's say my dictionary. Imagine, my data is like this. So if you are having a dictionary, 1 colon 20, 2 colon 40, for example. Now, now what I want to do is when you want to send this information to the front end, let's say, imagine you made a DB query, for example, instead of having some dummy, person details. Person details equal to. So imagine person is registered with the application. Now as person is logged in, we need to display his data, right? We need to display his photo on the UI, photo, first name, last name, and person information. You got it? Let's say name. Let's say, for example, Molly, and say employee ID. For example, some number, right? So we have this information, and that's fine for timing. Understood. Now, once we have the person details, now what we need to do is we need to send this information to the front end. Understood. Now, there is to work on this data to send data over internet. Most widely used data format is JSON. Okay, since it's since JSON is since JSON format since JSON format data is lightweight. So since JSON format data is lightweight, which is suitable for application development to send and retrieve the data over internet. Guys, did you understood? Like why it is why it became very famous? Because like when it comes to weight, right, lightweight, which means that the speed will be good. You got it? Let's say when you are sending data of list of let's say 100 users, for example, sending as a list, it's not suitable because so if when it comes to list, right, it has some size, correct? But when it comes to the JSON type, so JSON type in general, I'll quickly show you how it is generally. So here there's a Python file, right? Python format, correct? This is a Python data type, correct? Let's say if you want to work on the JSON, because it is exactly same, but when it comes to JSON, right, what it does is it converts something to JSON format like this. Guys, did you understood? So when you are sending this data over internet, it will go like this. It will go as a for us it looks like what we can say. For us it looks like what string only. No, you got it. But in general, it's a JSON type. But to play with the JSON type, what basically we do is we will say I'll show you like I'll create two things. See, one is what? One is with the dictionary. This is a dictionary, right? Python native data type. You got it? And here, let me give one more thing. So person details, um, person details dict. Same thing here. Person details JSON. Guys, got it? One second, guys. Let me see whether it is recording. All right, makes sense. Yeah, guys, I created two things for our demo. So here, this Python type, right? So here, this is like um, JSON type, JSON type data. You got it? So this how JSON looks actually. Okay. But how, like, you were saying that, hey, Kumar, so this is like a Python dictionary, and this is a JSON format you're saying. But how to deal with this? Like, how I can work with this, right? For example, since let's say, in order to work on this, particular concept, right? So we need to understand primarily two methods. In JSON, right? It has two methods. So the first method is loads. Second method is dumps. Got it? So when it comes to loads, right? So what it does is it converts JSON data to Python, Python native native data type. What dumps is reverse. It converts it converts Python native data type to JSON data type. Yes, did you understood? So there are two methods in JSON. We can use it for our understanding purpose. So since we have created I have created two variables, one for to store the JSON JSON value, and other ones to store the dictionary. Now let me do one thing. So let me use uh, import JSON. So for work on JSON, we have a JSON module. Understood? Now, did you see here? So here we have a Python object, right? I want to convert it to JSON. So how I can do it? So what is the method to convert Python object to JSON object? JSON dot dumps. Got it? Now say convert Python to JSON object, right? So let's say now converted converted um, JSON equal to, for example. So what is the method? JSON dot dumps. You got it? And what is the variable name? Now I want to convert to what? JSON type. So here, this is a Python type, right? If I pass this, what it does is it converts data into what? JSON type. Python native to Python data type to JSON type. So if you want to see, but in general, when you print it, right, it will not tell Python, when you convert it to a JSON, right, it would tell Python the data type as Python, string actually. Why? Because it would put comma, it would put comma, right? Sorry, colon, single quote. Yeah, single quote, right? So single quote means like it considers a string, to Python. But when you're using this module will take care of converting Python to Python to JSON to Python. You understood now, is it? Now let's try to print. So before converting, what is this type of this person details? Python. Now if you convert, let's say um, after converting person detail to JSON is what you can do. You can directly print or type of, right? What is what you can check? Type of what? Convert is JSON. So what type it will print? String. Got it? Now if you see, did you see guys? It printed type as string. So simple. No, in versional it is no. It would look for Python. It would look a string only. But if you convert it back, so convert it to JSON. Again, you want to make it back to data dictionary. How you can do it? Convert convert uh, JSON to Python. Now we can get the versional data. Isn't it? Converted Python, converted Python data type, converted to dictionary, right? That's the data is in form of dictionary, right? Converted dict equal to what's the method? JSON dot loads, right? Loads. It required what it required? It required JSON data. So JSON format is what here? Converted JSON. You got it? And once you're done, what you can do? Print, say, um, let's say converted JSON is just say converted dict. Sorry, converted dict is so this no, like if you want to check it, what you can do? You should do type checking, right? Converted your type is. So if you trigger this, now they should convert back to dictionary. Guys, did you understood how it is working? See, guys, in this only two things. One is JSON.loads, loads method and dump method. So we need to if you understood this properly, when it comes to loads method, what it does, it converts a JSON data to Python native data type. So for example, so think about this, right? Uh, so this is what happen in the real time. We do this only. So what we do, we will get the data. We will get the data in the form of JSON, but Python does not understand, right? So the example which I have shown here for this one, right? For example, let's say data. We will not get a dictionary format. Instead, we get a form of JSON. Why? Because data is traveling through the internet, right? So when data is traveling to internet, the data type is we use JSON as the data type. So let's quickly check why JSON for yeah, just say like why JSON is used in API. See, JSON is a popular and flexible, lightweight format for data exchange. You got it? So which would make us more easier for data transfer over the internet. You got it? Because lightweight and flexible. Okay. Now, if I go back here, when you look at this, now you understand, right? How this data is getting converted from one form to other form. You got it? Now, so this is what I played with this. And let's say there is one more person details this one. So what is this form actually? This form is JSON format, right? Yeah, you got it. So in order to convert this to dictionary, how I can do it? Person details JSON. If you want to convert to dictionary, JSON dot loads only. No, you got it. Yeah, convert JSON data to dictionary, for example. So how I can do it? Here we are already doing it, right? See. So see, what is the variable name? Converted JSON. Now convert details to dict. Uh, dict equal to JSON dot loads, right? And if you pass the JSON variable, then it would convert to dictionary. Guys, did you understood? Hmm? Convert to Python data type. Okay. So just say if you try to check the value, what type it is, then type of person details person details dict. Make sense? Navin, did you got it? See, dictionary. All right. So guys, only two things will play here. Okay. So this is with what? Currently, whatever I am playing, right? This is it. This is with a dictionary. So how about other case? Hey, Kumar, I want to send data in the format, for example, I want to send list data only, but in the form of JSON. You got it? So when it comes to list, for example, let's say again as mentioned, same thing only. For example, let's say JSON list equal to. So data will come in the form of this one. 1, 2, 3. Understood? So this is JSON list. If I want to convert to Python data type, so how we can do it? How we can do this, guys? Uh, how can I convert this to Python list? JSON dot no, dumps is what? Dumps is to convert to Python data type to JSON. So loads, correct? JSON list. Got it? And when you do this, see, when I click on this, did you see? It is working fine. And when I do this uh, print, Python data type is space. Uh, so type of, no, we are just checking whether, no, after converting from, JSON to Python, I'm just checking whether Python list is still, it is a list or what it is, right? If you check it, did you see it, guys? See, this is a string meaning JSON type, and after that, what we have seen, we got output as list. Yes, did you understood? Similarly, it does same for everything else. For tuple, string, set, whatever it is, it does this operation. But in real time, we will 99% or majority of the time, we will play with the dictionary alone. Understood? So let's do some examples. Guys, you understood, no? You are clear with this, is it? Yeah. Now let us do some examples. Let me comment it out. Some use cases. We'll work on some use cases. Okay. Okay. I think this is also not required. I'll just take it down. All right. Now, so when we are working on the JSON, it is also important that we need to see how data getting formatted. So think about this. Let's say when you're using Postman, right? Or I think majority people don't know Postman. So I don't want to name that. But let's say imagine I had some data. So 1:20, 2:30, for example, or 3:40. Understood? Now here this is the data. And when I do a print, right? So since it is only three values, that's fine. If I do this, this is okay. But there is something called JSON validator. Let me quickly show you how it works. JSON lint. This is a very famous, famous one. We use very very frequently when we are working on the application development, right? We use it a lot. Valid JSON. So why it is what is it? There's a problem, right? When it comes to JSON conversion, it's not happy with it's not happy with the numbers, right? So just prepare something like this. Key should be a number. Sorry, key should be a string. All right. Now when I do this, if I do this, no problem, and copy this out and check for valid JSON. Still, uh, okay. And one more important thing, when you're doing JSON, right? So the quotes, right? Quotes should be all double quotes. You can do this search. Uh, oh, since data is, I can quickly use some other things. Let's say let me use now find, and I'll just replace with double quotes. So JSON data should be in the form of double quotes, guys. Okay. got it. And what did you observe? So after keeping the data here, it properly, it formatted here, right? Like, it is properly indented or spaced. So originally, if you look at here, data is directly, directly displayed here in the horizontally, correct? But we need to see data in this format. When you are playing with the data, or when you want to refer, so data should be properly formatted. Let's say how many spaces? Four spaces, right? And let me come and play with this. So currently, you are seeing this. You are seeing this data is stored in this style, correct? And now, if you want to, if you want to provide some indentation, like you want to provide some indentation, for example, let's say. So this data is not in the form of, this is a dictionary data. Now I want to, I think let's quickly work on the use cases. I think we have done with understanding, converting from one object to other object. Now you understood that how to convert Python data to JSON data, JSON to Python, right? So let's understood how we can write this data into a JSON file also. Understood? So for example, let's say this is a JSON file. Now this is not a JSON. This is a dictionary, for example. Now this dictionary, I want to, I want to convert it to JSON, for example. And when it comes to when I do a conversion, I need to what we can say. Mm, properly, I should mention also, like indentation also important. As you are seeing here on the screen, it should be data should be displayed like this or even stored like this. Okay. So how we can do this? So currently it is in the form of what? Dictionary, right? Now, so to work on this, that's where we have file operations are very, very important. Okay. So to work on this kind of data, let me create a file called, let's say, um, with open. With open, if you open a file with write mode, what happen? If file exists, it will open a file and erase everything. That's very dangerous action, right? Let's say, uh, or for example, a.json. Okay, I'm creating a file, fresh file called a.json. And what is a mode? So let me say mode as, guys, if you don't understand, go and refer file operation session. Okay, as uh, let's say file, for example. Got it? Now, what I'm going to do is I want to dump the data. See what JSON dot. So if you want to do, see, dumps is what? Dumps is to convert from one type to other type. Dump is what it is doing. It is converting Python data type to other data type, right? Like JSON type. And if you want to store data into the file, so we can use the dump method. Okay, dump method. So dump method, what it requires, if you see here, it should display actually. So when I do this, in general, it should display the available things. Okay, currently it is not. Okay, now no problem. So here, what I want to do, I want to dump the data. What data I want to dump? So here, uh, JSON file, right? If I do a dump, if I pass it a here, dump of this is the data, and where I want to dump, I want to dump. This is a dictionary, right? I want to dump dictionary to a file. What's the file name? F. Got it. And what is indentation? You can say indentation as mentioned four spaces, right? Let's go ahead and check it. So what I'm doing here, I'm opening a file. I'm creating new file. Okay, creating a new file with a.json, and the file object is f. Okay, and here what I'm doing, I'm passing the dictionary, whatever dictionary I want to play with it, right? I just pass the dictionary. Understood? So once I have the dictionary, what I'm doing, so the first one is data. Second one is file name, file object. Third one is indentation. Understood? Now, if I trigger this, let's see what happens. So it triggered. And if you see, it must have created a file called JSON. Did you see here? What did you observe? The data is properly structured, isn't it, guys? I just see if I delete this quickly and you know delete anyway, for example, right? If I create it, whatever the spaces, no, whatever the spaces you are giving here, see, it created with the program with application it got created and properly structured. And the spaces is four spaces. So indentation, let's say whatever indentation if you are giving, let's say if you are giving only two spaces, hey, create a file, but only indentation is two, right? If you go here, this is only two. It's clear, huh? So meaning when you want to store data in the form of JSON, right? You can use file operations. And here the very first one is data, second one is file object, third one is indentation. If we don't give the indentation, for example, let's say if you don't give and if you go and trigger this, still it worked. But when you're saying data, so indentation was not mentioned, right? So it just like that it printed the data here. But when we are working on the JSON format, by default, we pass the data and file object and also say indentation is 4. By default, we set to 4. So that when you are reviewing the data here, you can check like this. Guess makes sense, huh? Understood. Yeah. All right. So this is one thing. And when you want to see, this is for what? This for writing data into a JSON file. The task is write data write into yeah just write data into JSON file using file operations. File IO means file input and output operations. Okay, cool. Now, now what we need to do, we need to read the data from the file, for example. Let's say the next task is read data from reading, oh sorry, reading JSON from a file. Got it? So same thing, when you want to do with open, what is the file name? A dot. And what is the mode? You want to open read mode, isn't it, guys? As a file. You got it? Now, if you want to read, what you need to do? So let's say data equal to, right? So JSON dot load, and it required what? It required file pointer. That's it. So what it does is it reads the data from it reads this data from the file whatever we've opened, and simply copy the data into the data file. And if you print data, let's say if you do a print data is, and here data. Guys, it's easy to understand when you're using when you're directly convert when you want to directly work on the data, Python to JSON to Python, we will be using JSON.loads and JSON.dumps. And when you're working with the file operations, we will be using JSON.dump and JSON.load. Got it? Yeah. So print it. Did you see this? So this is how you are reading the data from the JSON file. So when you read it, it reads the complete data in a single shot. Understood? Yeah, makes sense. Hmm. Okay. So generally, data is stored in this style, right? No, this is how the original data, correct? And you want to need properly structured for a viewing purpose. Let's say when you look at this, the data is, see, if I just do a copy of this data, since data is not good here, once again. Yeah, when I copy of this data, let's say if I remove the spaces, For example, uh, find what space, for example. So 15 spaces are there within this. You got it? Now what I'll do is I'll remove the spaces with nothing. Got it? Let's say data is in this style. So what it does is when you put this four, right? So wherever there is comma, like from here it put this, and wherever there is a comma, it puts four spaces. Indent four, right? It does this. You got it? Four spaces. One, one, two, three, four. It take care of this. Understood, huh? Right. So that it adds the tab there. Did you understand? Because when you want to view the data properly, let's say if it is only three items, that's fine. Imagine there are there are 20 30 items are there. For example, think about person, right? So person has a number of details. So viewing data in one liner, it doesn't look good. So it would go somewhere, right? Somewhere, let's say 200 characters or 300 characters. It would it would exceed it here, right? Where with your eyes you cannot see the complete line in one go. Understood? But when you properly format the data in a JSON format, then you can see let the name equal to XYZ, like age equal to XYZ. Got it? You can check that way. And this, yeah, mhm, right. By by default we should use four. Intent is four. So when it comes to JSON, many of the Python community developers, right? So we use four as the intent because it's very neat. If I use more than that, let's say for example, if I give 10, for example, let's say indentation, it doesn't look good. So for readability, you got it? It doesn't look good, right? So for that readability, people, everyone started using four. That's why even in Python, after colon, if you just enter, right? Python itself defaultly, it has the indentation four actually. Even see how it works in PyCharm also, right? If you go and check the configuration settings, right, where by default it would set I can quickly check that out. For example, if I get into settings, right, and go with the where is it? Python interpreter. This appearance, this is fine. I don't want to go with it. Versions, not versions. Once again, yeah, project, for example, project structure. Project structure is fine. Once again, there's something. Tools, so we can check. Or quickly, let me do one thing. Update indentation in PyCharm settings. Uh, Go to editor for style, right? Here, right, code style, right? Python, got it. So did you see this? So by default, it's a four. If you give two, for example, it is checking like it is working, right, in the default. So by default, it's a four. If you want, if you're not comfortable, in general, even tab also you can say when you press tab or how many spaces you want. Let's say you want two, okay, for example. But it's not a good practice, but always use four spaces for a tab. Got it? Yeah, makes sense. All right. So this is what writing into file and reading into JSON file. Let us take it out. All right. Next is handling. For example, think about a scenario where you want to you want to what we can say work on a nested dictionary, for example. So let's say my dict equal to you had for example name. For example, let's say person and here name colon name colon let's say Kumar Makala, for example, and address, right? Let's say address is here another dictionary, and in address we have country, India, right? State, let's say what state? Karnataka. Okay. Now see when you had something like in general, right? In the real time we do get the data in the form as this style. You got it? Now, now you are very clear that, for example, when it comes to nested dictionary, right? So you want to play with this data. You want to get the country. Sorry, let's say you want to get the person's country value. I want to get India. So what is the catch here? How can I get it? I want to get the value India. So how can I get it, guys? Any volunteer? Sorry, correct, correct. We would use. Mhm. No, say dictionaries would not support indexing. Correct. My dict of country, right? This is how we do, correct? Say yes or no. How many yes, how many no here? No, somehow you are reaching the point, but it's not the correct one, correct guess. But see, this is a nexted, right? See, this is a nexted. If you want to reach, as mentioned, right? When you are think about this, like let's say room number one, room number two, and room number three. You got it? And you cannot enter room number two without entering to room number one. You got it? So meaning, where is this country is residing? This country is residing at room number three. You got it? So meaning, so room number one, got it? Who is room number one? Person, got it? And what is room number two? No, right? Not name, correct? Because see, in room number two, we have name as well as address. You got it? Now, what to which to whom we have to talk? You have to talk address, correct? So meaning address. Got it? And in this address, again, it's a again it's a dictionary. So if you want to get this value, whom you have to talk? Country. Yes, got it? We go and trigger this. Now we are getting this data. Now, did you see how hard it is? Understood. Now this is very painful, right? Working on this data, you don't even know whether like how can I get it? How can I take it? Understood. In order to work on this kind of data, which data type would help you to convert that data and convert this data? Let's say, for example, when I do this, if I do this, let's say just now we have done right. What we have done? we have written data here. You got it? So whatever data we have, this is a data, and I open a file and stored it. If I just stored it so that it is easy to check it. If it is only few, at least you can go ahead and figure out, right? Uh, Convert to, in general, when we are working it right, in the real time. So we don't store them in the JSON type and print it there and all, right? So what we do is, so we will make sure this is the data. See, if I just copy it, go back here, and we will just paste it. See whether valid dictionary, valid JSON or not. We do valid. Did you see this? This way you can understand, right? Easily. Did you see this? Now, if you want to get it, if you want to get the value of India, how we can get it? So person, address, and country. Isn't it easy? By looking at this, by looking at here, it is really tough. Like whether in order to get the value, whom we should talk. Understood? Yeah, makes sense, huh? Even when you want to convert to when you want to convert, not convert, when you want to write data into a JSON file, for example. So how we can do it if you want to write it? So see, with open, what's the file name? You can mention any file name, uh, my dict as file object. Okay, you can say like file object or F, whatever it is, fine. Okay, and in order to write it in the JSON format, what you should use? JSON dot dump, right? Dump, right? Right. JSON dot dump, and what data? Data is here, my dict, isn't it? Data dot dump, my dict, and here where you want to dump, you want to dump it a file, and what's the indentation level? 4, for example. You're done. Understood? So when you trigger this, uh, oh, I'm reading it. If you don't mention, it's a what? Right, when you don't mention, it's a read method. Understood? Read mode. Now return uh, my dict. See? Now did you see this? It is properly formatted now. Yeah, makes sense, guys. You fine with it? All right. Now we understood how to read, write, right in the JSON file. Hmm? Got it. Correct. So once you know this, see that's what playing with this data is very important. Imagine data is coming. Let's say you want to store the data into the database. For example, so let's think about one use case. Okay. For example, okay, use case. User submitted the data. User submitted data from the UI. User submitted data from UI. For example, UI in the form of in the form of JSON. Okay, in the form of JSON, and developer should should write it in DB, for example. Okay. So when it comes to working with the databases, right? So in the application side, we can directly see you can directly update as a JSON, should be fine. But the thing is, data should be see when we are making a DB query. So we will get data in the form of dictionary only. We don't we, in typical scenario we directly don't deal with JSON with database type, right? Even in a PostgreSQL or whatever the database, if you're playing with it, so it already by default has a JSON type. But in reality, we don't directly use the JSON type. Instead, we use we will take the data from the user in the form of JSON, convert it them to a dictionary, and then the dictionary data be inserted in the database. Submitted. All right. So here, how data? For example, let's say think about this data user JSON equal to. So think about this. JSON data, say here, name, Kumar Makala, and let's say email, kmakala at makala.com, for example, and name, email address, and country, for example, India. Got it? So this is the data which user sent from the UI. So meaning UI, they'll send the data in the form of JSON. Guys, understood? So this is a form. Now, what I need to do is, yeah. So what I need to do is, now I need to insert this data into the database. So database would directly see if I directly insert, right? So I cannot take, for example, when I do this, if I directly use my dictionary of, let's say, name, who can tell me what is error type? What is error actually? Guys, simply whenever we are working with data type, if something is not working right, what error it tries? By default, it tries type error. Understood? This is the important thing, guys. Did you see this? Type error. String indices must be integers, not string. So meaning, if it is a string, right? So you should only play with string operations. Let's say if a string of zero. Yes, what is the value? User JSON of zero. Who can tell me what data it will be printed on the screen, output screen? Any volunteer here? No, what output it will be printed? When I print this user JSON of zero, for example. No. Um, who's that actually? Aparna? Priyanka, right? So Priyanka, how it will not support? Because it's a string, right? No, no. See, what I was doing, I'm giving, let's say, name. Understood? So here user JSON just like a variable name. It's not a JSON or anything, right? It's just a variable, correct? So when I store this information, what is the type of this data? That is, yeah, all right. Now what is this data? What is the type of this data? String. So when you do the string of name, right, does not make any sense because this type of operation only permitted in the form of dictionary. If the variable is dictionary, then only it will permit, right? In general, got it? So that's where this issue is. Now, if I make zero, for example, so what will be the data output here, Naveen? Who's that? Who's that? So tomorrow there will be a exam again, okay? So you guys forget actually. So when it comes to indexes, right? So index starts from where? Zero, correct? So zero, one, zero, one, two, three, four, five, six. Got it? That's how it works, right? In the strings. Got it. That's fine. Everyone, there's an exam on this tomorrow. Okay. So overnight, Navin should work instead of working in office. All right. No, because it's really important, guys. See, once you forget the basic concept, right? It's really important. You don't even know how important it is. For example, let's say you are making mistake in this. You want to fetch the country, right? So since you are not doing any operation, you got the data. You need to understand what data it is, and in order to get it, what kind of modifications I had to do with this data. Now, in order to get, let's say, for example, email address of this person. So who can tell me? Task is how to get the email address of the person. Who can tell me? What are the steps? What are the steps in this? Sorry. Yeah, correct. So takes the data, takes the JSON data, right? Data and store them, store them in the variable. Okay. Once you store it, what you should do? Convert, right? Convert to Python data type and store them in another variable. Make sense? So once you're done with the conversion of to Python native data type, then fetch the email key value using get method of dictionary. You're done. Guys, you got it? Any confusion in this from anyone? Okay, sure. So now convert a dict, right? So how we can do it? So before doing that, what I have to do? I have to import JSON, right? It is required. This is the guy who can help me to convert, right? Otherwise, I cannot do it. So if you want to just JSON to Python, what is the method? Loads. Perfect. Loads, and here we have to pass the variable name. Use the data. Is JSON, right? Now converted. Once it is converted, then directly I can fetch it, right? How can I fetch it? Converted dix dot get correct. What is the method name? Get. What is the key name? Email. Got it, guys? Clear? Did you understood how we were playing with the application now? So application we get the data in the form of JSON. We should take the data. We should convert it to Python native format so that you can get the respective data. Otherwise, if you don't convert, you will end up understanding, "Arey yaar, this is like a zero, this is zero, one, two, three. God knows what you're doing." Understood. So careful, guys, when you're working on the data, it's really, really important. So conversion, it is easy to understand that when you're working on the real environment, you should use JSON module. Understood. So JSON is a built-in Python module. It comes with Python itself. Whenever we were seeing this data. Understood. So see here, you are seeing this. You taken this converted here, and now you want to, for example, the same data being inserted into the file, for example, in a JSON file. So how you can do it with open? So, for example, let's say some what we can say user user.json, for example. Let's say this is a file name, and what is the mode? Write mode. Got it? As file object. And you want to what? You want to convert, right? You want to store the information in the form of JSON, is it? So then JSON JSON dot what? So convert it to JSON. Dump. Got it? Dump. So what is the first one? First one is data. Right? Here, what you should pass? You should pass what? Convert a dictionary. Got it? Comma. Then what is the next one? File object. Comma. You should also pass the indentation. How much indent you want to pass? Got it, huh? That's clear. Right. Write the person data in the form of JSON. Got it? If you trigger this out, right? Go and see there is something called user JSON. You see it? Properly formatted and stored here. Guys, that's what. Once you understood the concept, it is just to apply, guys. That's it. Understood? Huh? Makes sense? Or you're not comfortable still? Yeah, makes sense. hmm So this how we will play with this data, guys. Really, really important. If you don't understand, you're in trouble. Got it? So it requires a lot of practice in this. Yeah. So guys, how comfortable you are taking exam from all the topics that we covered so far? Tomorrow, what time everyone else is available? Tomorrow is first, is it? All right. Like, who are available, we can take. That's okay. Yeah, second also will take one more exam. So because our list is very big, we will come with a lot of questions.